gave $50
Yeah.
and someone gave 50,000, but my $50 was part of this thing
Yes.
that did all this stuff. That's cool.
I feel, honestly, like the spirit has just blown through this place by way of missions. And like the mission partners, they're so great. Think of them as like really cool tentacles, just all this really awesome partnership and strings all over the place in unique ways.
It's awesome. I mean, our missions budget is 10% of our overall budget, which is really wild. And then on top of that, the Give Into Joy stuff we did last year.
That is
It
just crazy.
So it's this huge amount of money, right? Like it was $265,000 is what like the Give Into Joy was.
Let's take a second though and humanize. There is a responsibility you bear in that way.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this way. Is there a weight to it?
Yes, for sure. The Passion Center, we have talked about this, but yeah, we're sitting in the meeting. I have a number on the page of $15,000, and Ted was like, "Oh, I'll text the CEO," which is just
Awesome.
Yeah, almost immediately the guy texts back and says, "Yeah, we've actually been praying about this, and we're going to be short $15,000." You know, we hadn't said the number, but they matched up perfectly, and I was like, "How about that?" That's
I mean, that's an extremely encouraging and exciting thing.
It was awesome. I'm like contacting missionaries, and a lot of them are out of the country, and they all call me brother.
Yeah.
Why don't more people call me brother? No, don't edit that out. I already said that.
Brother Matt rolls off the tongue. Oh, it does.
Well, I mean, just to kind of summarize the Give Into Joy stuff, like going to be 30 different places. All of our like missions partners that we have, a bunch came out of the woodwork. There's a group at LBC called Disciple Makers. Disciple on college campuses, including Lebanon Valley College. They mentioned that they needed scholarship money, so we were able to give. Really exciting. And a couple months later, I talked to the leader of the LBC Disciple Makers thing, and he mentioned that and said that there was a girl who was coming to the meetings but wasn't going to go to the conference, and she accepted Jesus at the conference. We gave to a food program for Champions in Action, which was cool. You know, they do the soccer camps, but they also feed families. So there's one, Jesus People Gospel Ministries. They needed money to feed kids, so they were cooking. I'm not sure what their cooking situation was, but the government basically said you can't keep feeding kids unless you have a resident or a commercial kitchen in Kenya. They were here visiting last summer.
Oh, I know them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Simon and Joyce. We gave into that.
I'm so glad to hear
And
that.
it was cool, and like he's been sending me updates down to the dollar, how much the cement was going to cost, and this is what labor's going to cost, and we need, 823 cement blocks, and they cost this much, and like so like clear, and
That's
it's like
amazing.
so much integrity, and like this is how every dollar will be spent. It's awesome. And he calls me brother every time, so I'm into it.
Brother Matt.
So
Pastor Brother Matt's going somewhere.
I hope so. And then there was this church in the Dominican Republic that had stepped out in faith and was like, we need a bigger facility because they're kind of like the hub in the
Right.
area. Like conferences are happening there and all these things. They raised like $9,000, and they basically put the pillars for the
$9,000
roof
among them.
It's awesome, yeah. Pillars for the roof and this and that and the block walls and the cement.
Ran out of money.
Yeah, don't have money. And now, you've got like cement and steel we're going to give they need for like this initial step. And I get an email back the next day, and he said, "Beloved pastor, good morning. Yesterday, your email came in while we were having lunch, and I couldn't finish because I had to call the pastor from Macha. And together we cried and praised the name of the Lord. We also prayed to God for you and your congregation for all your kindness. Pastor, saying thank you is not enough, but our desire is to one day bring you there so that the congregation can express to you such a great gift. A hug and blessings."
Yeah, I mean, like, it seems like you're really trying hard to put the credit where it's due, and I appreciate that about you. I know it's not burden isn't the right word. Burden is definitely not the right word, but weight, responsibility. Because here's the truth. For every story like that, you also have to weigh wisdom and prudence, and you have to do a lot of that. So I want to be on the record as saying thank you for that. When you give me that initial number, and I know that that's not all of it, that's an incredible thing. That'll cut through your cynicism a little bit when when you see a church do that. But I think the church is a good investment in the kingdom in a host of ways. It's not a
Yeah.
substitute for people's hands and feet and their own responsibility.
No.
I'm not saying to farm out, but more than ever in my life, I believe that the church is a good investment in this regard.
We've got these numbers, this number of $265,000, which was a high number. But then I'm giving out 1,000 or 2,000 at a time, like a pretty small percentage, which is a lot of money. Like if someone just handed you $1,000, $1,000 can do a ton of stuff. It's like one of the things was like, we need some farm equipment, and I'm thinking, a plow, a tractor, or whatever, and they're like hose and rakes and stuff, and I was like,
So humble.
it felt, yeah, it was like, we need, $27 for stuff, and I was like, all that to say, it's kind of like sometimes we feel like our little bit doesn't do much throughout the year, but I think it really does.
Fish and loaves. And then the other thing that I'm always scolded for not communicating well to the body, which I want to take a crack at doing. This is how I became aware of it, but I don't know it in its details, and I know you do. But there's a Christmas offering every year. It's always astonishing how much money comes in. I've seen year after year after year. And largely that money is going out to our community. It's not only going out to our community, it's going out to missions partners and stuff. I've seen it go out to our community, right, in a host of ways. And everything from like rent,
Yeah, in our like
families that are displaced, everything you can
compassion
imagine.
fund type stuff, yeah.
It takes discernment. Turns out handing money out is not as easy as it's.
It is actually. It's easy to hand money out. It's hard to actually do something that's going to help people. I can
Well
give
said.
money out all day long.
The difference between true kingdom help and enablement
Yeah,
would be a
like,
good way to say it.
well, and obviously, like in many cases, that is helpful. Don't hear me the wrong way there, but in some cases, what needs to happen is that, and then also the pastor needs to actually like do some pastoring and be like, hey, tell me about what's up with your family, and
Yeah.
which is like where the pastoring comes in.
By the
and
way,
not
just to be clear,
paying.
that's love.
It is.
No, it
It
really
is.
is. It is love.
Yeah, because I mean, you can't like go through life and just say like, it's not worth rectifying things with my family. Like I think we'll be held to account for some of those
I
things.
agree.
It's super easy just to like throw money at the problem or
Yeah.
be like, oh yeah, I can help you this one time to move. But then to follow up and like praying is probably the best thing we can do because we're going right to the one with unlimited resources and
Yeah.
unlimited time to deal with it and all that stuff.
Right.
But also like sometimes a follow up on like
Yes.
one of those things. If you know the
Obedience.
person and
Called
just like,
obedience.
hey, I saw on the prayer list, or you gave me this prayer request that I gave to the church, and your husband, is having surgery. Do you need meals, or do you want someone to sit with you while, you're in the waiting room,
Yeah.
or like going to get dialysis, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Gosh.
It's crazy stuff. We're very generous. We're in a pretty comfortable area, like financially and all that stuff, which is awesome. And like we have those resources for a reason. Very generous with them. But I also think we really need to consider going beyond that in the missions sense, like getting out. How do you evangelize your neighbors? Or like David said last week, barbershop guy, and like being honest with him and like telling him about Jesus. Or is it like North Carolina? Guys went last year and it was really impactful, or Guatemala, or listening to the Spirit moving you, like we've got 1,000 people. Are there people out there who might feel nudged to actually be long-term missionaries? Like it's something we really need to consider as individuals and like a church, and how do we empower that? Is our church, it's like a body, this church specifically, are we like praying for our church and for the leadership, the people who are making decisions for the church, guidance there, that we would be patient, but also like strike when the time comes? Are we praying for smallest church unit? Kind of is like the family. You got the individual and then you got like the family. So we're praying for like the marriages in our church and the families in our church.
Yeah.
And supporting them. There's attacks coming as far as like spiritual attacks. That's where erode the bedrock pretty quick.
Yeah, that's the next horizon. Yeah, that fiscal generosity has arrived, and that's a celebration. A greater frontier of that would be like all these like micro obediences that come.
Mentorship,
Yeah, like
discipleship.
all that stuff you mentioned,
Hmm.
faithful in prayer, obedient and micro action. That's a beautiful, vibrant generosity ministry in a church
Hmm.
beyond the pocketbook. But quite frankly, actually, if I had to pick one,
Hmm.
I'd pick that one because this one would be like an afterthought
Yeah.
if that one was
Yeah.
watertight. And I know you know that.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
I
for
know that
sure.
in my own life, if there's like submission and obedience in all these micro ways, I don't really think too much about financial stuff.
Yeah.
That stuff trips me up when I'm not
Yeah. When you're thinking
keeping
about it.
my
Yeah.
eye on the ball and keeping focused.